Hi everybody, I'm Jeff Sackrider, Manhattan Market Manager for WTC, and we are back today with another episode of WTC's Fiberside Chat. Today I have with me Zach Ralston. Welcome, Zach.
Thank you. I've been with WTC for about 5 years now, and I work in the customer service department and do a lot of sales and support and things like that. So I'm happy to be here today.
In addition to sales and support, you kind of have positioned yourself as our hosted phone expert recently. Can you tell me what is our hosted phone system? What is that?
Hosted phone is just kind of a fancy way to say that we manage phone systems, both really big and very small. It's a way for you to get more out of the phones that you use every single day.
I hear hosted phones, I hear HPBX, I hear other things.
Right.
So are those all the same?
So it is the same concept. Basically what it boils down to is that there's equipment in place, there's programming that we put on that equipment, and it can be as large scale or as fine scale as what you want it to be for what you need.
When I look at our work calendar, it seems like we've got a lot of people every week that are switching over to our phone systems.
Right.
Why do you think that is?
It's because it's kind of like a multi-purpose tool in your belt as a business owner. Hosted phone, it sounds really big, it sounds kind of scary, it sounds very industrial, which it can be. But also, there's a lot of benefit for using these types of systems even in a small setting. And so people are really starting to see the advantage of that.
I think I know that these phones kind of work over the internet instead of traditional telephone lines.
Right.
And that kind of gives you the ability, or that does give you the ability to get in there and maybe do some programming and control and monitor those phones from the office. Is that right?
Right, yeah. So in the past with a hosted phone system in a traditional sense, you would need multiple lines to answer multiple phone calls at the same time. So if you have a situation where your call volume is more than one call at a time, you're paying for multiple phone lines, even if you have a hosted system. With our hosted system, there's a lot of advantage to it for it being over the internet, or VoIP, as we like to call it, because we can do just about anything you want to make you take as many calls or as little calls as what you want at any given time.
Does that mean there could be some cost savings there to switch over to this?
Absolutely. My general rule is that if you're paying for 2 phone lines, you're probably paying too much. And we can save you money, not only in that sense for what you're paying for, but give you a greater value at the end of the day with the technology and support that we can provide.
You mentioned technology. I've got an app on my phone so that when I'm not in my office, I can take calls, and that, I think that's a part of this phone system too.
Absolutely. Yeah, and at no additional charge. That's kind of great. So one thing about our hosted phone systems is that they're very future forward. We're always looking at innovative ways to not only utilize your day-to-day business, but make it intermingle with the digital world and mobility that we need nowadays. One way that we do that is our app that's called Go Voice. And essentially, it's an application that you install on your phone. And as long as you have an internet connection, whether it's cellular or Wi-Fi, you can be anywhere and still function like you're in the office.
So that means if I'm running around town, somebody doesn't need to know my cell phone number and they can still reach me?
Absolutely. As busy business people, we are out and about. We need to address an issue immediately, but we don't want necessarily that client or that person to have your cell phone number. In that instance, you log into the app, you make your phone call, and it's like you're sitting at your desk.
A big phone system connected to the internet.
Right.
That sounds like I need to know a whole lot to set these phones up and program them and keep them working right.
You just need to know that you can contact us and tell us what you want. At the end of the day, that's what sets us apart in many avenues in our business. But we have a very skilled and knowledgeable team to do the back end of everything. You tell us what product, how you want it to function, and we take care of the rest. You want a change made for a holiday or a luncheon or someone's home sick, it's a phone call, it's an email, and it's done almost immediately.
We live in a world today where people work remotely, where maybe they're home part of the time, they're in their office part of the time. So these phones are connected to the internet. Does that mean, in theory, I could take my phone home with me if I needed to?
Absolutely. During COVID, we all saw that work shift that was very rough on a lot of folks. We had a lot of positive feedback from people who did utilize our HPBX because it allowed those individuals to pick up their phone, take it home, plug it into power, into an internet source, and it's like you're sitting in the office. We have people, like you said, that work remotely. We have individuals that have offices in other locations where it's just one phone or two phone, but they need to still be interconnected. We can do all that for you.
Great. So you have offices in multiple locations. You can kind of, sounds like almost trick those phones. They think everybody's in the same building, and so I can just conference someone in or transfer a call, and it just works seamlessly
Absolutely.
across vast spaces.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. A business is wanting to switch, considering to switch their phone system over to WTC. They've had their phone number, they've got it in a jingle, and everybody in town knows what it is. Is that something that they can just magically move over, or how does that work?
Absolutely. Yeah, so we make that process really seamless. There's some stuff on the back end, obviously, communicating between us and the other carriers, but we take care of all that. And you can retain your phone number, your identity, what you need for your business to keep going.
Right. So my customers aren't going to know that I made a change. They're going to call me the same way that they always had.
Absolutely.
So when a person's ready to make their switch to WTC, maybe they have a vague idea of how they want those phones to work. They've got buttons, and one of them dials a certain vendor, and another one calls, a colleague in a different department. Is that up to each user that's going to go in and set up their own phone and program that? How do you get started with a phone system from WTC?
One thing I can say is that there's a lot of details that go into getting it to work the way that you want. And luckily, the details are our business. And so however you want those buttons to perform, however you want that system to perform on a individual level or on a large scale level as a company, we take care of that. You don't have to worry about missing this button or this extension, or hey, it's supposed to ring over there. It's our job to kind of follow through and know what to look for. Just like any of our other things that we offer with WTC, we have complete support for our business customers. This is included in it, and it's about as good as you can get.
Yeah, and so I know I've heard from other people in town or in our service area, with their old phone systems, maybe there's a trip charge or programming kind of charges if there's employee turnover and you need to change the name or a button. Can you talk about what does that maintenance going forward look like with one of our phone systems?
Right. So not only do we have our standard business support that we do on a regular basis, if you were buying or purchasing or paying for a premium product like what a hosted phone system is through us, you're going to receive premium support. It's included. If we need to look at swapping a phone out because it's not functioning properly or a headset has broken, all of that's included with what you pay for from day one.
Great. So a person has a fixed monthly cost for their service, and unless they add more to it to keep their existing service working how they need it to work, that's going to just be a fixed cost that they can expect every month.
Absolutely.
Great. Zach, thank you so much for talking to me today. I learned a lot about hosted phone systems. Thank you all for watching, and tune in again for the next installment of WTC's Fiberside Chat.